Hey, good Wednesday evening, everybody. It's Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. Welcome into Live Weather Impact tonight. What a beautiful day across the Carolinas. We do have some rain to talk about, but it's not much. I mean, Tim and I talked about this yesterday, and I'm going to show you. I hate to get you excited because it's really not much rain. It's almost like rain in name only. So let's start up at Beach Mountain. I want to show this camera because, first of all, it looks gorgeous. I mean, Beach Mountain, we normally show you when it's snowing, but 56 degrees up there. The reason I'm showing this, it's full sunshine there, and you're probably saying, yeah, it's sunny everywhere, Brad, right? Well, not everywhere. The mountains, it's sunny, which is shocking to me because that's where our rain is supposed to be right now. So that could show you how lame that batch of rain is because it's just not producing much of anything. Now up towards Tim's Way, it is doing a little bit better up towards Martinsville and towards the Virginia line, but we talked about that yesterday. That was probably going to be the better chances of rain. So if you're in northern Alexander County, northern Iredell County, pretty good chance you're going to get a quick passing shower. And let me emphasize quick. This is going to be in and out. It won't amount to much, and so I don't want you to get super excited for significant rain because it might be just enough to put watermarks on your car. And you'll see our rain chances, 20-30% between now and midnight. That's probably pretty generous, to be honest with you, because it's not going to amount to much. But it is going to cool us down tonight. This is a reinforcing shot of cool air. Temperatures back into the 40s and 50s, and tomorrow will not be nearly as warm as it was today. We got up to 79, which is right at our average for this time of year. Tomorrow, take about 5 to 10 degrees off that. I think we'll spend most of the day in the 50s and 60s until we get up to close to 70 late in the day. So what's this future cast look like? Well, this should tell you kind of like the chances are pretty slim and none. Here it comes, it's midnight moving through, and I'll be honest, it's been trending down today when I've been looking at our future cast, which is not a great sign for significant rain chances. So I would not get super excited. It is a rain chance. If you want to see the amounts, and again, the specific amounts, don't read into it. Just look how low they all are. All these are barely measurable, so I think it's a really good signal of how weak this system is. And if you're looking for other rain chances, there's none after today. This is it until next Wednesday at the earliest. I think we'll have to wait till next Thursday or Friday. So we're getting into one of those unfortunately dry, hot periods again in the middle of an exceptional to extreme drought. That's not great. Now, one thing we will see change, dew points are going to start creeping up slowly but steadily. And normally, I am not a fan of high dew points. From a comfort level, this is not great, but this is something that we want to see if we want to get chances of rain. Like right now, the 7-day rainfall chances are pretty slim, like I mentioned. We actually have next to nothing over the next 7 days. Just remember, an inch you need per week just to have normal rainfall. So the fact that we're not even getting that tells you we're actually adding to our deficit, not subtracting from it. And we look at the jet stream pattern. This dip in the jet stream moves out fairly quickly. It will be kind of crisp and cool the next couple of days. But then starting this weekend, get ready for a summer preview. I know a lot of folks love summer. If your pool's opening, you're probably like, this is great. It's happening. I mean, hot, humid weather's moving in. I think once it gets here, it's kind of for the duration. It's going to be air conditioning weather and probably staying there until the fall. I jokingly said that yesterday, but I firmly believe it just looking at the pattern and where we are on the calendar. I mean, it's the middle of May. It's kind of the time. You know, typically this is when we turn that corner to summer, and sure enough, all the long-range forecasts are showing above average temperatures in the next 6 to 10 days and even beyond, 7 to 14 days. So that should keep us super, super warm. And that starts this weekend. Your weekend forecast, 87 Saturday. That's a dry heat, but then the humidity starts to creep up on Sunday. We creep up into the low 90s. That's when we start to feel it. And just to give you an idea of the long range, we can show you the 8 to 14-day outlook from temperatures. Not as above normal, but remember, by this time, the average high is up around 80. So this is easily well into the 80s, getting us up there in that really warm territory. And not a lot of rain chances, as I mentioned. So let's look at your Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. We'll dive into the details here a little bit deeper than we can during our 4, 5, and 6. You can see the next 2 days, I'd say 2.5 days, because even on Saturday morning it looks really delightful. Get your windows open, enjoy the fresh air, spend as much time outside as you can. Not that you can't spend time outside this weekend, but it's when the heat and humidity starts to build that it becomes more summer-like. So if you love the comfortable spring weather, you get about 2 more days of that before it changes. Rain chances next to nothing until next Wednesday. That's on, we see a 20% chance. If we go 10 days into the future, we can see into next weekend, which is important. It's Memorial Day weekend. It's also Coke 600 weekend, so a lot of interest in what's happening next weekend. Normally, we don't want to see rain on that weekend because of the Coke 600 and all the festivities, but we're in a drought. We need the rain. We got to get it any way we can. And because it is so far out, I would not read too much into that. But it certainly looks like a hotter, wetter pattern at some point late next week. So we'll see what happens going into next week. And that 78 is probably kind of dubious. And in full transparency, rain chances this far out, I would never read too much into them. They're the most fluctuating and changeable part of a weather forecast at this time range. Temperatures, get a pretty good idea. It's going to stay in that general range, but rain chances, they can bounce around quite a bit. So probably a good idea not to get too far into the weeds on that as we look out into the future. Real quickly, we'll look at the 10-day rain chances because I do want to include them just to show you the trend, because you'll see next week after Wednesday, I do think we'll have a heightened rain chance, and that's mainly in the form of scattered and afternoon, evening thunderstorms. So we'll talk more about that. We got a rocket launch we're going to show you. Lots to talk about coming up in about 2.5 minutes. Stick around and stay right here.
Weather Impact Live with Brad Panovich is sponsored by Moisture Lock, crawl space, basement, and foundation repair experts serving the Carolinas since 1988.
Tired of all this rain? Does your yard look like a swamp after it rains? Hi, I'm Greg Doggett with Moisture Lock, Charlotte's premier waterproofing and foundation repair company. The longer water sits, the softer soil will become. This can cause foundation issues. If you're having drainage issues, contact Moisture Lock. We'll get the water away from your home and out of your yard.
Moisture Lock, stabilize, enhance, protect.
Welcome back, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here and Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley from WFMY. And Tim, we're watching a rocket launch first. We just want to tease that because if things go according to plan, it would go off in our show in about 10 minutes. But looking at the radar and satellite down that way, I don't think it's going to happen because we've got lightning and cumulus clouds in the track of this launch. So this is a supply mission up to the space station. It's a Falcon 9 launch, Tim. So I doubt this will happen, but we'll see. For those that don't understand, you can't fly through cumulonimbus or cumulus clouds because it induces lightning. And when you got rocket fuel, you don't want to do that. You don't want a rocket going and getting hit by lightning. That's never a good thing, Tim, when that happens. So we're keeping a close eye on that. But hey, we actually get to talk about rain. I feel like in the middle of a drought, you're like, let's talk about rain, and it's like we look at the rain that we have out there. You've got more than I do, and it's still not a whole lot, Tim, but it's something.
We joked about this the last time it rained, kind of feeling like we're tracking flurries for the first time of the year with great anticipation and counting each one of them, right?
Yes.
So here we are. We're taking you now to Wilkes County and Surrey County up in the foothills. So from Wilkesboro to Mount Airy, you're getting some okay rainfall here, basically right there near Elkin. Raining pretty hard at Stone Mountain State Park. Now, these are brief showers, but the rates are okay. And so you could pick up a quick 1/10 of an inch or so if it comes down hard enough. Now, it's not the same everywhere. You go up and down the line, it's a little lighter elsewhere. And I think, just like you do probably, Brad, it's going to be hard for them to hold intensity as they move farther south and farther east. So the odds in Charlotte, the odds in Greensboro, not as good.
This might be the height of their life. They're probably not going to get a whole lot more vigorous as they push south, because they're moving into really dry air. And as they come off that elevation, they're kind of sinking a little bit, and that's never a good thing with storms. You want them to be lifting, so not great. We look at our future casts, and at times it wants to hint at maybe one or two of these trying to bubble up. But I would say anytime between now and the frontal passage, which looks like midnight maybe, there's a chance, but let's be honest, most people are not going to see anything. And even the folks that see rain, it might be just enough to put water drops on your car and not really wash a whole lot off. So it's something, though. But the bigger story, Tim, might be how cool it is behind this, because this is going to reinforce our cool air as we go into tomorrow. We'll see crisp, cool conditions in the morning. Really, I think Thursday could be a beautiful day, almost like a March, early April day again. And these cool overnights continue. So we get a couple more days of refreshing, free air conditioning air until the heat starts to build this weekend.
Yeah, it definitely depends on what you like, because going into tomorrow, if you're a summer crowd kind of person, if you just look at the weather app and you say, okay, it's like 68 degrees and partly cloudy tomorrow, it really might not feel like that to you, because we're going to have a breeze coming in at about 25 miles per hour. In my area, at least, I think we'll have some of those clouds kind of popping up in the afternoon like you get on those upper level lows. So it'll be kind of a little bit almost of a blustery kind of a day with that cool air sliding in on the backside of that cold front. So totally different than it feels now.
Yep.
And tomorrow's different. And then, the days after, like I said, we're kind of going decades. 60s, then 70s, then 80s, then 90s.
Yeah.
At least around here.
We're ramping it up pretty quickly, so you're probably running out of time for this really nice feeling air, because Friday might be very similar to today, honestly. Today was just amazing. I'm upper 70s. I mean, I had 46 at my house this morning. We only got to 79 today. That's a nice swing. I love that type of weather, honestly. That's I call it San Diego weather, because it's, you need a sweatshirt in the morning. In the afternoon, you got shorts and a T-shirt on. It really is a great setup. But by the weekend, Tim, we start to see this kind of ridge build over the southeast. We start to see kind of that hint of the summer type feel set up once again. We've got a lot of 80s, maybe some low 90s start creeping up, but really next week we start to see that ridge taking shape, and it looks like a pretty steamy pattern once we get into early next week, and we start seeing a configuration that looks a lot like summer and not so much like May. And even though we are in mid-May, it feels like this might be it. We might be turning the corner, and summer's here, and once it gets here, we might be in it for the rest of the season.
It could be, and it's almost kind of getting a little deja vu like here, because back in April we had a similar big pattern like this shape up, where you had, for us, the big heat wave, and then several states to our west you had that active storm track. We remember those busy severe weather outbreaks in places like Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, those areas. That could be repeated, because when you show the jet stream, it looks like it's really packed pretty tightly in those areas. And then for us, we're just sweating it it out over here where there's a lot of heat and humidity and probably a lot of pushing on the atmosphere with high pressure, which suppresses any storms or any rain. So a very dry and a very hot weather pattern looks likely at least through the middle of next week.
Yeah, speaking of that, I was noticing this today. I was watching our weather, but I kind of always look at the glance at the national weather. Really big severe weather day out in the Rockies, an area you don't normally expect to see a lot of severe weather. And what struck me, Tim, is you go up to Montana, look at the size of this severe thunderstorm warning. This thing is massive. It looks like a severe thunderstorm watch, but that orange box, that is what is called a considerable tag for a severe thunderstorm warning. It looks like it takes up like 10 counties. I've just never seen a warning that big. That is huge.
So this is pretty wild. It looks like the size of Rhode Island. Let's measure this thing if we're able to. This is a 140-mile wide severe thunderstorm warning in Montana, like you said, and about 80 miles tall. So you can do the math in your head for the square mileage there. But that's pretty impressive. Kind of almost like a bow echo, and probably some huge hailstones falling out of that, Brad. That's not something they are used to in the Big Sky country.
Yeah, reading some of the statements, it is a bow echo, and they've got 80-mile-per-hour winds, I think, and so that's why it's got the considerable tag. But I've been watching it for a while, and there's been some good windstorms in those. But you look up and down the Rockies; they need rain too. By the way, I mean it's been really dry out there. But yeah, just kind of weird that that's in the plain, and not in the plains, but over in the higher terrain. But as you mentioned, Tim, May is kind of known for like the southern plains. This is when tornado season gets really active in the central and southern plains. Got some friends that are heading out on Friday to do some storm chasing, and I think they're heading out there at a pretty opportune time, like you said, because the way the pattern sets up the ridge over the southeast and kind of troughing over the middle of the country, it could be a really active severe weather week next week for the middle of the country.
It looks like it could be, and that would kind of be along with the schedule of where you'd expect those things to be this time of year. I wonder what your thoughts are as far as us getting our next chance for rain. Are we buying the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time frame of late next week? Is it too early to jump on that, or just monitoring for now? Because I think there's some reasons that you could go on either side of that currently.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people ask, because obviously you got race weeks coming down here. The Coke 600s next weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend. So a lot of people, race fans, are always hitting me up because they're traveling to Charlotte for that weekend, and they want to know because they're usually camping. Right. And I've told them all, I said, hey, it's, I do think it'll be wet and warm, but rain chances, as you know, and we try to tell people, long-range rain chances are probably the most flexible or changeable part of our forecast, because you can go from a 50% chance to like nothing this far out, because it's just small changes multiplied by that time frame end up having big impacts on rain chances. So I agree with you, Tim. I think it looks like to me a scattered thunderstorm setup, but I could totally see it, just knowing our luck that it starts trending drier as we get closer, and we're like, uh-oh, here we go again. But at least right now, if you had to pin me down, I'd say it looks like a summer pattern, pop-up afternoon storms, hopefully with the hot, humid weather setting up over the southeast.
Maybe for several days in a row, because that ridge kind of flattens out a little bit starting on Wednesday, and then after that you might be able to kind of bust through and get some of those thunderstorm clusters that can kind of pop up. We haven't seen that in months because it hasn't been summer, but that's kind of what you usually see in August or July, and maybe we could get back to that. But as you know, the winners and losers, there'll be lots of those.
That is the one way we can end up with drought-busting rains without a front, is like you said, get clusters of storms or MCSs day after day. You can definitely get some good active weather. So let's go back down to the Cape real quick, because Tim, I'm hearing from the range they've got the green light for this launch. This is a crewed mission, Falcon 9 SpaceX launch. It's the Dragon CRS payload here. They're taking food and supplies and equipment up to the crew on the space station. So they got a little capsule that's going to come out of this, and it'll dock with the space station, and they'll, which is kind of cool, because sometimes you can see that if the space station's flying overhead, you'll actually see both the Dragon capsule and the space station kind of chasing each other. It looks kind of cool, but we got the countdown. It looks like it's still there. Got to give a huge shout out to SpaceX. They do a great job showing the video of these. I mean, the views you get of these launches are insane now.
They're holding.
Oh, there's
the
a
launch
hole.
auto sequence has been aborted.
Should have known.
And there you heard it. Aborted is not the word that you want to hear.
Yeah.
Live television. So
Well,
that's just the red light.
Yeah, my guess that's a weather hold. And we were looking, James and I were looking at this. This isn't like a launch window. It's like a launch time for this mission. So it's not like they can delay much. It'll probably be postponed to another time. So, boy, that was close. 28 seconds out.
Yeah, they took it right down to the wire.
We're almost in the sky.
Yeah, but that's the way SpaceX is. I've seen them launch, like, wait to the last second, and there's a storm north. It moves just far enough away. But when we look at the radar and satellite down there, you've got both the cumulus cloud rule, the anvil rule. We've got lightning in the air. It's just, I don't know. If I was a weather officer, I'd be super nervous launching through that right now, because the trajectory, by the way, is northeast, so they'd be going through those showers and thunderstorms offshore, not southeast, and that just looks like a bad sign for lightning strikes to me. And so this is probably going to get delayed for another day, it looks like.
So, Brad, you might know the answer to this. So when they're doing missions down there, obviously they have specific weather criteria.
Yeah.
Are the weather people or the weather officers or the weather advisors, are they the same whether it's a NASA launch or a SpaceX launch, or are they different people for different operations?
I believe it's the same. They use the same weather squadron there at Cape Canaveral. So they use them for everybody there. So
Gotcha.
They're the most versed, but they always have to get the criteria from each vendor. So I'm sure SpaceX has different criteria than NASA, let's say. So, but I think the rules are generally the same, especially with the launch trajectories, and they're usually pretty safe. Like I said, a crewed mission, they might take it down to the line like this, but I mean, they wouldn't do this down to the line. But a cargo mission, they tend to wait to the last minute because they can. There's not as many safety concerns with cargo, but it is expensive. You don't want to destroy a rocket, and especially food and supplies, because that means they got to send another one up there, and that's bad news for the astronauts on the space station.
Yeah, well, you can see it clearly on the satellite. You don't want those big bubbling clouds. And,
yes.
It's kind of one of those clues, like if you're ever on a beach trip, you're ever camping, you're ever hiking, anything like that. If you don't have one of these and you don't have your WFMI app, your WCNC app, what are you going to do? You just want to look rudimentarily. If you could just look at how big or how tall the clouds are getting, that can sometimes be a clue that you might be in trouble 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours down the line. Because when those clouds start to really bubble up and get very tall, you start to get in trouble with thunderstorms in the summertime.
Yeah, those congestive-looking cumulus clouds, you see kind of cauliflower shape to them, and you can actually watch them in real time, Tim. I do this all the time. You can actually see them getting taller. If they're getting taller, it's a bad sign. You want those to be going down. We call them flattening out, and when they're building the towers like that, you don't want to see that. We only have a couple minutes here, Tim, but I did want to bring this up because we're going to have a great guest coming up on Monday's show. Evan Bentley, right? It's his name, from SPC is going to come, and he's going to talk about the new the SIG configurations to the outlooks. He's also going to talk about something that we've been talking a lot about, which has kind of gone under the radar, I think, for a lot of meteorologists. I stumbled upon this by accident a couple years ago at a conference when someone from NCEP was telling me the NAM hadn't been updated since like 2019 and that all these models were going away. And I was like, what? I didn't realize they haven't been updated. I knew they were going to get retired. But what's going to happen, Tim, is we got a drop dead date, if you will, the end of August. All of these short-range models that we're all familiar with from Weather Geeks, the high-res, the NAM, the HRR, the HREF, they're all going to go away, and a new model is going to replace them. And in the Weather Enterprise, which is in Weather Twitter, or X, if you will, there's a lot of consternation about these models going away. And I think a lot of people, they slept on this. They just didn't realize that this was supposed to happen this year, and it kind of snuck up because now it's official.
Yeah, well, like you said, this has been known. It's not a split-second decision here. It's kind of been a plan, and you can like it or you can not like it. A lot of times, it doesn't matter what profession you're in or what walk of life you're in. A lot of people we don't like change, do we? No. And so, as meteorologists, if you're just a viewer out there behind the scenes, you might not realize, but we have a lot of different tools we use to put together a forecast. There are half a dozen to a dozen computer models that we could check every day. There are a couple key ones that have been a staple for a few decades that are going away. And there are newer, greater, better ones now. But we're maybe not as familiar with the newest ones that are going to replace these older ones. And so we might not, as meteorologists, have that same level of trust with the new ones that we did with the old ones. Even if the old ones were imperfect, let's say the NAM, I knew when to ignore Mr. NAM and when to use him because that's when he's more helpful. So I don't know that with Mr. New RRFS, whatever we're going to call him. So there's going to be some unease and some adjustment and maybe some growing pains over the next year.
Yeah, for folks out there, the tools we use, people think just models spit out a forecast. They really are tools for us, Tim. They don't give us a forecast. They help us build a forecast. And experience with using these tools, you kind of learn, like you said, like what to take seriously, what to kind of ignore, just because you learn from use, right? Time of use experience. We don't have that experience with the new model, so it's going to take some time. And we can look at it now, and that's why I started looking at it more at an experimental stage, just to get an idea for what it's good at and what it's not. And the other problem is it's this weird kind of limbo, Tim, because a lot of the models we look at right now, they're good, but they haven't been maintained or updated for the last couple of years because they knew they were going to retire. They didn't invest in research. And the new models, because they're technically experimental, aren't a finished product. So kind of both sets of models, you kind of like, maybe they're not both doing good. And while we could complain about the new model, it's really not operational yet. And it might really be great by the time it's operational in August. Right now, it's experimental. And the reason they're not using it is because it's probably not a done product yet.
I hope so. I mean, it's always a little bit of a leap of faith. This is on a much smaller scale, but we went through this with our graphics here at the TV stations a couple of years ago. They switched the model that we show you guys at home all the time. We were saying, no, keep that one. We like that one. And now the new one, it's fine. It's like just as good as the old one. So I don't even think about it anymore. We'll adjust. It's what they pay us to do, but it'll be an adjustment, I think, right? It happens at the end of August is what they're saying.
Yeah, and I think the silver liner, the good news in this should be a higher resolution model, run more often, so we should have better looking products at least more frequently. We love those high resolution rapid refresh models. This one's going to go out a farther distance, so like the NAM went out 84 hours. We'll get that now like every 3 to 6 hours with this short range stuff. So we should get more data more frequently, so I guess that's on the plus side, but we're all going to have to learn to do it. But of course, we'll talk more about that coming up on Monday. We can grill Evan on that and ask his opinion. But stick around. We've got more news coming up right after the break. Yes.